All right, this is going to be part 5 of the study guide videos. Picking up with question number 19. And question number 19 says to find the missing sides of the triangle. Now, both of these triangles are 45, 45, 90s. So my brain immediately tells me for a 45, 45, 90, the legs, remember the legs are the sides that make up the right angle. Those are x, and the hypotenuse is x root 2. So if I know what x is, which in this case I do, I'm going to know what this side is because it's the same exact thing. So this is going to be 30. And then whatever this x value is, I'm going to take that x times root 2. So the hypotenuse here is going to be 30 root 2. There is nothing else you need to do with these as long as you know that relationship. Part B, same exact kind of problem. We're looking at, I'm saying part B, but it's a second triangle here. So for this one, I'm looking again 45, 45. So this leg and this leg, those are my legs. So that's going to be my x and my x. So x, hypotenuse is x root 2. Now, some of you might look at this and say, oh, I know what x is based on this. That's awesome if you can. If you're looking at it going, I'm not sure, that's okay too. Take the side you know, which is 5 root 2, and set it equal to whatever label you've associated with it. And in this case, that's going to be the x root 2 label. So x root 2, we're going to divide both sides by root 2 to get x by itself. The root 2's cancel, and I'm left with x is equal to 5. So that means that wherever I have an x, which is both of these legs, that's going to be a 5. I don't even know if I really need this side, but I'm going to go ahead and label it 5 because it can't hurt. So there's my two answers for the second triangle. So there's the 45, 45, 90s for question number 19. I'm going to go ahead and slide on over to question number 20. These are my 30, 60, 90s. Okay, so I'm going to do something similar to the last one. First triangle here, I'm going to find my 30-degree angle. I'm going to go opposite to that. That is my x. I'm going to find my 90-degree angle. That 90-degree angle is, of course, going to point to the hypotenuse, which is 2x. And then the third side, which is opposite the 60, is x root 3. So I know the hypotenuse, which is my 2x. So if I say 2x is equal to 100, because that's my label, that's what I was given, then I can divide both sides by 2, and I know x is 50. So this side, which I marked as x, is going to be 50, right? That's my x. And this side, which I marked as x root 3, is going to be 50 times root 3, which is, I'm going to say simply, but just 50 root 3. Nothing else you can do with that. So A is 50, B is 50 root 3. All right. So we got another 30, 60, 90 right triangle. And while I know only one angle is labeled here, and we have the right angle, this has to be 60 degrees. It's not necessary for you to put it there, but it's kind of one of those can't hurt things. So we've got our 30-degree angle here. I'm going to go across the triangle. This is x. I'm going to find my right angle. That is going to point to the hypotenuse. So that is 2x. And the side opposite the 60 is the third side, x root 3. Now this is the, I'm going to say easiest one for my brain because I'm giving you what x equals, right? I know x is 15. So when this says 2x, that means I'm going to take 2 times 15, and that is going to be 30. And then for this side where I have x root 3, I'm just going to replace x with 15. So this is 15 root 3. Nothing else to do there with those. There's my h, there's my g. All right, so that's your special right triangles for 30, 60, 90s for question number 20. All right, let's take a look at question number 21. All right, you are supposed to find all the missing parts. Okay, so let's find the first missing part. And I'm going to make a little list off to the side just so I can keep track of things. Eventually, I'm going to find an x. I'm going to find a y. But actually, the first thing I'm going to find is z. So z is the angle here. And I know that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So if I take 74 plus 90, oops, not equals, plus z, that has to be 180. So 74 plus 90 would be 164 plus z equals 180. I'm going to subtract 164 from both sides. Z equals 16. Yes, it's 16 degrees. Just doing a quick double check in my head when I said that. All right. So 3 angles of a triangle add up to 180. So I found the other angle that we were missing. Now let's talk sides. And what we're going to do here is this is going to be where we apply SOHCAHTOA. Now, SOHCAHTOA, remember, is our little mnemonic device, SOHCAHTOA, and this is going to help us remember the ratios for sine, cosine, and tangent. So SOHCAHTOA. And the angle that we can use either the 74-degree angle or angle Z, which we figured out to be 16. I'm going to go ahead and use the one that's given to me, which is the 74-degree angle. So that's going to be my reference angle. So from my reference angle, I would like to label the 3 sides of the triangle. I'm going to find my right angle. It is going to, of course, point to the hypotenuse. I abbreviate that as HYP. The 74-degree angle is made up of 2 sides, the hypotenuse and the adjacent side. So adjacent over here, ADJ for adjacent. And that leaves my third side, which is across the triangle from the 74. That is the opposite side. So I'm going to figure out what X is. I'm going to figure out Y is, but I got to do 2 separate things to do that. All right. So for X, let's say I want to find X first. That is the, hold on one second. That's the opposite side here. And I'm going to use the adjacent side, which means I'm going to be using TOA, which is tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. So let me set that up. Let's make a little equation here that's going to say the tangent of 74 equals the opposite side of X over the adjacent side of 5. I can put this over 1, and I can cross multiply. So X is equal to, that was 1 times X, and that's going to be 5 times the tangent of 74. That goes in a calculator. So the calculator that we're using, if you're using the big brick calculators, there is a mode function here. If you're in that, double check that you have degree mode, or if your calculator has little words across the top, right around here, it should say the word degree. If it doesn't, double check to put it in degree mode. So degree mode, I'm in there, whoops, not 55. We're gonna do 5, and then tangent is right here, next to the little up arrow key. Tangent 74 degrees, we're already in that mode. So that's going to be 17.44 if I round, which of course we are going to round. So 17.44, yep. All right, so that's what my value is for X, 17.44. Okay, that's not a degree, that's just an answer, that's a length. Okay, and then I also want to set up an equation to figure out what Y is. So I know Y is the hypotenuse. I'm going to keep using that adjacent side of 5. And so which of my trig functions uses adjacent and hypotenuse? And that is the middle one, which is CAH. And that is for cosine. So the cosine of 74 equals the adjacent side, 5 over the hypotenuse of Y. And we're going to cross multiply this one like we cross multiplied the last one. 1 times 5 makes 5. Y times the cosine of 74 is exactly what I said. The difference between this last problem is when we did our cross multiplication, X was already by itself. In this case, Y is not yet completely by itself. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by the cosine of 74 because that will get Y by itself. So into a calculator, we're going to go with the 5 divided by the cosine of 74. All right. So 5 divided by, it's still cosine, 74. And I'm still in degree mode, right? If I double check that, it's still degree is highlighted. So I don't have to worry about that. 5 divided by cosine, yep, we got it. So 18.14, rounded off appropriately. Yes, and yes. All right, so Y is equal to 18.14. Again, that is a length. It's not any kind of degree or anything like that. So I was asking you for 3 things, X, Y, and Z. We have found those 3 things. All right, this is where I'm going to cut this video. I'm going to make one more that'll catch the rest of the problems here, but this way this isn't too long. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know, and I'll see you in the last one if you need that help. That didn't do what I wanted it to do.